going on, y'all? It's your boy Wisco Madman coming at you with another reaction video. We're gonna go ahead and check out some more Upchurch here. This one is what is the future of Music City? He says it's a open conversation, so without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump up in it.
All right, let's talk music industry. Let's really talk music industry though. The future of the industry. Let's really talk about it in a problem-solving way. Let me start off by saying this. People have favorite superheroes and people have favorite villains. When you watch the show Cops, you're watching cops and bandits. There wouldn't be a show called Cops if there wasn't a bandit to chase. It would just be cops, and then the show would be just cops standing there, not chasing bandits. Some of us...
Church got high again. I'm just playing, bro. But I will say this. Every time he gets high, he be contemplating and thinking. I love these kind of videos from him.
Want the bandit to get away. Some of us want the cop to arrest the bandit. But we're both watching the same TV show. Some superheroes have a tad bit of a bad boy side. Some villains have huge hearts. Perfect example of a villain having a huge heart is look up The Barefoot Bandit. It is a true story about a kid who was in a foster home, read a book, taught himself how to fly airplanes and do all this crazy shit. He flew all over the world. He had the FBI. He had everybody looking for him. He would rob rich houses without hurting anybody in the middle of the night without anyone knowing, and he would leave that money in the house of maybe a single mom who had a rundown place, and he would leave from there. Okay, now let's talk music, thinking about that same exact comparison. In music history, right now, we're living in the first time where independent artists are multiplying everywhere. Not only are they multiplying, some of these independent artists are either already have blown up or they're on the rise to blow up. And there's going to be your old heads in here that's like, well, there's always been independent artists. I understand that. But there has never been independent artists to the caliber it is now, to the numbers they're getting, to the exposure they get, to the money they make that they can, use for marketing to buy every fucking billboard in town for 3 months. And another thing, especially if a independent artist has made it to such a level that they are trending, they are getting golds, they are getting platinums, they are doing all these things and meeting all these great accomplishments just as the mainstream artists are as well. Here is the thing. Now, independent artists and mainstream artists and record labels are all on the same playing field, which is social media, which is iTunes charts, the trending list, all that. So here's the thing. Independent artists and mainstream artists both have the same listeners. I mean, it is music. There's some people I don't even like, but I listen to their music because I like their music. And I'm assuming, whether it's business-wise, whether it's personal-wise, everybody's end goal in music in general is to what? Satisfy the listener. We all satisfy our listeners in different ways, but that is the end goal, to satisfy the listener. Some people's dream is to sign a record label, is to host the CMA Awards, do things that they want to do. I understand that. I agree that country music needs to have the superheroes with a little bit of bad boy side. Totally understandable. But it also needs the villain with the huge heart. Going back to the Barefoot Bandit story, that's true. I told y'all could look up. Okay, if the independent artist is the Barefoot Bandit and the powerhouse is mainstream, the Barefoot Bandit is coming through in the middle of the night and just robbing a little bit of the mainstream each time in different ways. And I'm talking about on social media in different ways, like speaking out against them.
So obviously in this case, it sounds like Church is referring to himself as the Barefoot Bandit, kind of taken little by little from the mainstream and whatnot for the independent artist and his fans.
Like saying, hey, I don't mess with this artist, here's why. And if it's an independent artist that, has proven himself to his listeners and been respected for so many years and never has started crap with nobody, only finished it when he had to, and only stood up for himself when he had to, and voiced his opinion against people when he had to, well, then that independent artist becomes a problem for the mainstream. But it's both ways. Then the mainstream could rob the Barefoot Bandit, the independent artist, just the same. By what? Social media stuff. The way the mainstream could rob the independent scene, which now they're on the same playing field, social media, they could rob them by faulty articles, Trace, damaging false information, misleading headlines on, major outlets, Taste of Country.
I like that little cough thing there. That's one of my little signatures that I like to do.
But here's the real question. Let's all ask ourselves this. Does it have to be like that? It don't have to be like that. I mean, let's just be real. This is a very crucial time for Music City history. And I'll tell you why. Because you have born and raised Nashville native Jelly, who went to the mainstream. His songs are being played on the radio, 1029, 103.3. They're doing great. People are loving it. Then there's myself, who has become one of the biggest independent artists in the world. Also, born and raised from Nashville, Tennessee. That's two born and raised Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, hometown boys on each side winning how they want to win. Mainstream, independence. Now, do you want those two entities throwing shit at each other? Or do you want those two entities working together? And I don't mean just me and Jelly. I mean the whole independent scene and the whole mainstream scene. I'm just using me and Jelly as a reference so people understand what I'm saying. What I'm getting at is,
I gotta say, man, this is absolutely why I love Church, is because, a lot of his fans were freaking out like, oh, did you hear what Jelly said? Oh, did you hear what they're posting? Like, did you hear? Like, Church's like, bruh, I don't care. In the instance of, I know where he's coming from. I know what he's saying because that's my friend. Like, I still fuck with him. Like, he's not talking shit on me. He just has his own view of things, and I have my own view of things. And that's what's, on a bigger picture thing, like looking at the world today, that's kind of what's the problem, dude. Is so many people think, oh, you don't think like I think, so you're wrong. No. See, difference in opinion is okay. It's healthy. It creates progression in society. And not progression as in progressives. As in, we can move forward and make things better. If you don't look at things differently, if you don't have difference in opinion, you don't have different viewpoints and different likes and preferences and whatever, then we're all just a bunch of fucking drones. The fuck's the point of that?
This is a make it or break it moment for the structure of Music City business. We are living in the make it or break it moment for the next 50 to 100 years of Music City history. For real. And here's why. The mainstream is always figuring out ways to survive. Independent artists are always figuring out ways to survive. The independent scene right now is rapidly getting fucking humongous. The mainstream is humongous. But if the mainstream is this big and the independent is growing really rapidly right now, what happens when there's more independent artists and more listened to independent artists as the mainstream is this size? If the mainstream is this size and it sees the independents starting to get bigger and bigger, it is going to throw more attacks at the independent artist, which is going to make the independent scene throw shots back over here. So it's this constant fuck you, and everyone grows slower. Instead of wasting time and having both entities try to figure out how to combat each other, why wouldn't two entities try to get in a room and figure out how to coexist with each other in each way they want, but also work together on the same platform, since you're on the same platform? Once again, this is about the listener. Imagine if there was a version of Holler Boys with me and Justin Moore. People would go nuts.
But see, the problem with the mainstream, the problem with any big corporations is they want control. They don't live by live and let live. You know? I'm more for what America was founded on, independence and freedom. And letting you do whatever the fuck you want to do as long as it don't affect me. You know? Like, people, the system just doesn't like that anymore. It's moving against it. They want control. They want, they have greed. They want more money. They want more control. Like, it's just dumb shit.
Not only that, it would accidentally make perfect sense and fit the storyline perfect. I've said before plenty of times that I grew up on Justin Moore. I've shouted him out in rap songs, but look, this is all in past tense. What I'm getting at is if you took that mainstream entity and this independent entity, and the timing would have been perfect because you have Justin Moore, who's been around for a while, been super successful, but he's been around long enough to where not as much promotion money is getting spent on Justin Moore because, you know, there's been 30 other artists or whatever come out since then that have gotten big. But now you have this independent guy over here who's been giving Justin Moore, you know, props and shit during his come up, and he's made it to a spot where it's like, oh shit, like, yo, this dude over here's got some serious ass numbers, maybe bigger than these over here from this mainstream artist. Oh snap, let's put them together. We put them together. The independent guy, they're like, yo, what the fuck? He's got a feature from Justin Moore. Over here on the Justin Moore side, boom, he just got a bunch of free promotion from people on this side who also like Justin Moore and we're wanting to see Justin Moore do something new, and maybe people who haven't.
Which is a cool idea, but chances are labels and shit like that won't allow stuff like that, you know? Like what you did with Clay Walker and shit like that, that's rare, bro. Like, I'm proud of you for that, and I love seeing it, but how you did it is beyond me, because I can't imagine any labels are fond of you getting to have those kind of features.
Seeing Justin Moore, well, that's another explosion for him promotion-wise that the label doesn't have to pay for. Both parties win. Mainstream do mainstream, independent do independent. Both bosses doing some cowboy handshake shit, going their separate ways, and both getting to stick to the truth of who they are and the morals of how they like to do their business with the music. But also on the other hand, it's traded publicity, because then it's traded from the independent artist to the radio. Getting seen where he wouldn't get seen, but he also gets to stay independent, and here's how. Mainstream does a song with independent artist. Independent artist says, all right, bet, I'll do this one, I like it. Let me say what I want to say. If you don't like it, don't use it. Here's my verse, here's my stuff, here. If you like it, keep it. 100% of it. I don't want to make no money from the mainstream. That's not Ryan Upchurch's goal. I want to be the Barefoot Bandit, cuz. I know what you're thinking. Well, why in the hell would you want to do a song with a mainstream artist and then not get no money from it? Simple answer, because that is having a deal with a record label. I don't want a deal with a record label. I want to be crazy ass independent Ryan Upchurch. But
damn straight,
if there is a mainstream artist I like that I want to do a song with, then let's do it. You can have 100% of the song, but I'm still independent. I'm still just Ryan Upchurch, cuz I'm still gonna maybe tomorrow release a song because I fucking feel like it. Because I'm allowed to, because I'm not signed to nobody. But it was good doing business with you signed folks over there. See you later. That is a good relationship. That's the kind of relationship a independent artist, I'm guessing, would want with the mainstream. We don't want a record deal. We don't want to be signed by nobody. Shit, we don't even want the money. You can keep the money from the song too, because you're giving me the promotion, so you can keep the money, but I'm going to keep the money from my songs, and you ain't got to promote mine. That's even as hell. But we want to be respected the same, and we do want to work with each other and make music for the listener. Once again, for the listener. And if a huge movement like that started now, that would be great for the future of music business and music artists on both sides, making money, living comfortably, and coexisting with each other. If it doesn't change and someone doesn't figure out something right now, both are going to be huge powerhouses and they're going to be going at each other. And bro, you don't think the independent scene in 50 years is going to have like 5 humongous artists get together and create a powerhouse that is gargantuous to go against this over here? Yeah, bro, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fucking critical thinking and figuring out is what it's going to be. Or it can be enjoyable, interesting, and iconic for this generation of music. That's what it could be. Because it's only going to multiply as it goes further. Either we can gain control of it, or we can just let it flow out of control and just let everybody fight and go against each other. I mean, bro, imagine if the CMAs opened up an independent section. So at the CMAs, you had the independents, the rebels, and then you had the other side. Depending on what side you are, that's what side you're rolling with. And to the other side, it makes this side look better. And then to this side makes this side look better. You satisfy everybody, bro, because every kind of person is involved. Some people are rule breakers and some people are rule followers. What are people saying right now in Music City? They're saying there ain't no fucking rebels left. Let's give the people the rebels, bro. Let's work that out. And any mainstream folks out there thinking, well, why the hell we want to pick up some independent artists and just build them up? No, you don't do ones you already got to build up. You do ones that have proved themselves as a actual, for real independent artist out here getting themselves to this insanely high level they're not supposed to be at. That's the one you do business with. I ain't talking about just me. I'm talking about all the independent artists in the world. You go for the ones that you know ain't gonna fuck their shit up or do nothing stupid to fuck their shit up because they work for all of it. So you really got nothing to worry about. And you didn't have to put no money into it for it to get there. It got there by itself. So when a record label tries to say, hey, we want you, they're always gonna push.
To be clear, guys, like, you know, I talk a lot of shit on the mainstream and whatnot because I've been following church for so long, but it's also because that point that he's kind of making there, like spending money on promotion and shit. I like the people who are just themselves and that's their fucking promotion. Mainstream spends so much fucking money getting in front of you. So much fucking money. And you really don't have to. Like, if they would let the system overall, be it music, be it whatever, like, marketing is honestly, the older I get, the more I think marketing's fucking evil. But if they would just let marketing be gone and let things promote themselves and let the people choose rather than being advertised to all the time, I think we'd have a lot fairer system. You know, not saying a lot of controls in place or anything, just enough with the marketing. Funny thing is, that's kind of the same way I look at politics. Enough with the marketing.
Away from you, bro. They're always going to push away from the mainstream because there's nothing the mainstream can really do for them. So if the independents can only do so much for them and they can only do so much for the independents, it only makes sense for it to be an even trade. You stay what you are, I stay what I am. Let's do this song together, shake hands, goodbye.
Right.
Everyone looks good, and last but not least, the listener is getting something they never thought they would get. Right. Especially right now. In the future, it will be normal. But right now, in our time, it would catch all of our listeners off guard in the best way possible. Don't believe me? Get in a room with me. Let's figure that out for the listener. Let's figure that out for the future of music. It is possible for mainstream and independent to separately coexist in the same room, have respect for each other, and be respected on the same exact playing field all together. I mean, come on, man. It's Music City. Do you make better music in a studio when the vibe is weird, or do you make better music in a studio when the vibe is great? I think Music City knows that answer, and so does the music listener. Love you guys, church man. Out, baby!
Church man out, baby. That was fucking funny. I like how he wrapped
No
that
Jumper,
one up.
coolest podcast in the world. And today we're in
yeah,
here
no,
with
it's
the
not.
one and only.
Anyway, back when Church got on No Jumper and dude showed him all shade. Like the fuck. Anyway, yeah, man, I get what Church's vision is. You know, allowing things to happen naturally makes a lot more sense. And I think that's a much better way for everything to be, really. Life in general, but it'd be great to see in the music scene. It really would. But y'all like this video, go ahead and hit that like button down below. Thank you guys for commenting, sharing, subscribing. As always, you can check me out on Twitter, Instagram, Clapper, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, TikTok. All platforms, Wisco Madman. Adventures, opinions, whatever. Whole bunch of stuff out there. Even got an apparel line out there now for those of you who want to rep for me. But yeah, appreciate y'all watching as always. Catch you on the next one. Peace.